One of the most important things, like if you're a barber listening, or even just like someone who's in the service industry, just pay attention. Don't think about just the money, but think about the person in the chair. Open-mindedness comes a long way because the more open-minded you are, the better you can connect with people. With a lot of like social media, like a lot of people are lonely. A lot of people are like,
people need people.
People need people. People need people. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for being a fly on the wall. Hope you guys are encouraged. We'll see you guys next time.
That one time, like we were supposed to do this podcast a while ago, and I was going through some stuff, and we had to cancel because I wasn't comfortable enough showing my face on the camera or to people. And like, I got a lot of key moments in my barbering careers and like people that I have connections with, and that was one that stands out, probably top 3 moments of mine for sure. Because shout out my boy Jared Malari, like crazy time. He was a guest barber at the zoo. I was going through my eczema stuff, one of my worst eczema stuff too back then. And I was talking to him. I opened up to him, telling him what I was going through, and we were at the side of the zoo, and he prayed. He asked if he could pray over me, and out of nowhere, when I had to cancel that show that we were gonna do, and I was telling you what I was going through, you asked if you could pray for me. So like those type of moments right there, and like that actual moment kind of helped me even like reopen my relationship with God, and I started praying more. Yeah. Like I don't take this barber thing for granted, and like mostly every day I pray and thank God for like giving me the blessings to have this kind of skills and like being able to do what I do. And being able to do what I love and all the blessings that I got. And like that moment that when you prayed over me, that was a big one for me in my barbering career because of the connections that like I've gotten and the relationships I've gotten from barbering. You know what I'm saying? And that's something you can't pay for, bro.
Dude, this is a rocket ship.
Wow, bro.
It's like SpaceX, but for barbers.
That's wild.
So keep the top.
Keep the top, yeah.
How did you want the shape on the sides? Like, did you want this area to be...
You don't need to touch any of that. Yeah, I mean...
Keep that too?
Yeah, you can keep it. Unless you find anything that you need to clean up or like...
Yeah.
Whatever you see, but I'm very simple today. Just a taper on the bottom.
Yeah, and then take care of the weight back
Take care
here.
of that weight back there, and yeah, you don't need to go any high. I kind of want to see how this grows out with my hair.
Okay, and then for the taper on the sides, did you want to keep the hooks, or what were you thinking?
Because I feel once I decide to take off the hooks, then it gets higher. Then it ends up
cutting into the shape.
Exactly. So
gotcha.
I guess probably hooks. Yeah. I guess you could decide whatever.
Just keep it low.
Yeah, just keep it low for sure. Just a clean up. Yeah, I just want to maintain this haircut.
You know, clients, they're like, can't get just the lineup with, can you bald out the bottom of it too? And then just a little bit. Yeah. Is that a full haircut?
Dude, I don't know. Yeah. I think there's like differences, right? Like you have weekly clients?
I do, yeah.
And like those haircuts are maintenance haircuts.
Yeah, they are
right?
maintenance
haircuts. You're not really creating. You know what I'm saying? Full on. But for us, like I feel like we could explain that, but our clients don't know how to explain. Like, okay, I just want it cleaned up, maybe. But then some of them, it's like I want it cleaned up, but actually a real cut.
Yeah, like you don't have to do all the steps, but it still looks fresh.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I only have a few weeklies now. I used to have more weeklies back in the day, like pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
But I would still take the full hour, mainly because like I want to make sure the service I give to them is worth it.
For sure.
Do you give them discounts if you do weekly?
I give my weekly clients a discount because they spend a lot of money. I mean, a weekly client spends the most, right?
Bro, they spend so much money.
Yeah, so I definitely give them a discount.
Yeah, I try to save people money now. Like, you know how hairstyles are starting to become more natural?
Yep.
And so I tell people like, hey, like bite the bullet, grow your hair out just a little bit longer. Yeah. And then we'll do a hairstyle that's a little bit more natural. Mm-hmm. And they end up not having to come back for weeks. Yeah. Which, you know, like for a lot of barbers, they might think like, oh, that's not worth it. Like I want to push people back on purpose. For sure. So that they come back sooner. Right? Yeah, true. But I don't know, like I've been in this mode of barbering now because I've been doing it for like 14 years. Yeah. It's like, I care more about the people. For sure. And if that means I could save people money while also being able to give cool haircuts that I like, that's a win-win.
Nah, for sure.
But that goes back to the thing that we were talking about earlier. Like, I want to be creative, but I also want to be a business owner.
Yeah, man.
For business owners, they might see that as like a loss.
For sure, you're selling yourself short, maybe.
You're selling yourself short.
Yeah, but
it's a tough balance.
It isn't that the business part. Yeah, I've always like, even like in the beginning, like when like maybe like being 8 years into the game already, like being scared to raise my prices on my clients just because I'm as loyal to my clients as they're loyal to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a two-way street. So I'm loyal to them, and I try not to get over on nobody, right? Like, that's my thing. I definitely don't want to be trying to get over on nobody.
Yeah. So my
worth is, I gotta know my worth.
And
And it honestly took me a while, bro, to really just be like, yeah, this is who I am, man, and I'm gonna put myself on this pedestal and feel like if I feel like I'm worth that much, I'm gonna charge that price.
Yeah. How much are you charging right now?
75, 85.
Nice,
70,
bro.
Yeah.
That's a premium status right there.
I know. But yeah,
That's VIP.
I definitely look at people's prices. Like, I mean, it's kind of been getting crazy.
Yeah.
The standard of like a haircut in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, like 50, 60? I would say so, something around there. You could come into the game charging $50. I came into the game charging $20.
Yeah, like even in the garage, like I know some garage barbers, shout out to them. Like, bro, they charge a lot.
Yeah.
And they're pocketing every single dollar.
I know, bro.
But do you think there's an upper limit to how much a barber can charge? Because like you said, prices are kind of wild right now.
It's gotten ridiculous. I feel like like where I'm at right now, this is just from my perspective and where like I am in my career, like I charge 75. Like I feel like I could raise my price. You know what I'm saying? So on certain haircuts, I think like, do you just charge your weekly that you just give a ball fade, 3 on top, the same price? It's kind of hard to justify that for me. Like but again, I'm giving the same quality to everybody and that same amount of, effort. And like, I don't know, it's like, I feel like I could differentiate like a harder haircut than not, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, you feel like what do you charge?
I charge $85 for a scissor haircut. Yeah. So a little bit more technical.
Correct.
And I charge $70 for a clipper haircut, which is, I don't want to say it's any less technical, but you're not picking up your scissors, so it's not as much work for me. So I charge like a $15 difference.
Yeah.
But this November 1st, I have a sign right there.
I've seen that.
I have a price change come in, and it's I'm bumping my prices up to $15. So
that's a
I'm hitting triple digits for price now, which is kind of scary. Like, not gonna lie, I'm terrified because maybe it's just me being insecure.
Yeah.
Because I know like what my haircuts are worth in terms of intrinsic value. Because I really like same as you. Like you care very deeply about the people that you cut.
Of course.
So do I.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And I invest time and money into education.
The craft, yes.
And to develop the craft.
For sure.
So I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I don't like hating on other people's prices as a barber because I don't think that does the industry any good. Like when I see so-and-so down the street charging 175, 200, but then you look at their work and I don't know. Like, are you a better marketer than you are a barber at that point?
Yeah, true.
And so I'm not trying to hate because like eventually, like maybe one day we should charge 175. So I never want to hate on people's prices.
True.
But I feel like it should be congruent to how good you are as a service provider.
For sure.
Agreed.
Agreed. Very agreed, man. Like, I'm all about the experience I give to my clients, right? And I kind of, like, coming to you getting a haircut, like, I know you're giving your all because you'd want to be serviced the way you give a service, right? Like, I give a service like 100%. So whenever I get service, I kind of expect that out of people. You know what I'm saying? So, oh man, yeah. It's weird. Like, but like, again, like people have utilized social media to portray themselves as this person and maybe because you got that many followers, you're able to charge that price. I've seen a lot of that. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you change your price, once you get into like 75 and up, you're changing your demographic of clientele too, I think. Or people who really maybe value your haircut more, or people who value you more. Once you start charging 100, I think like those people aren't the type of people that are getting cut every week, every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's what I'm talking about, like different demographic of like clientele. You're getting somebody who just needs a type of haircut that just needs to get cut once a month. And I'm trying to get to that. I would love to get clients, and I'm starting to get clients like that for sure, that have like, they just come once a month and they're okay with it. But I think it's funny because of the generation that we came from, right?
Yeah.
We came from a generation of weekly clients and weekly haircuts. But as I guess, of course, times change and haircuts change, that like some people, during the pandemic, I've had people after the pandemic, they were my weeklies. They ended up just becoming bi-weekly now. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Part of which too, because of the pandemic, people realize that they can actually grow their hair out and it doesn't look bad.
Exactly.
That's when people start experimenting with all these different hairstyles.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why the curly top with the blowout taper started becoming popular, because a lot of kids couldn't afford to get haircuts.
True.
Their barbers weren't cutting hair, so they just, let me just give myself a taper, and that's kind of how that. Yeah. What was that hairstyle called? Do you remember?
I don't know.
I don't even know what it's called.
All the young homies have it. All the young hoopers have it. They all rock that. Maybe even with a perm or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, like the hairstyles kind of changed for sure. I guess like we were talking about earlier, more natural, just natural lived-in haircuts, right? And like as you cut my hair, that's what I feel like I'm kind of going for, something like just easy and natural. Like I don't have to put too much effort into, and it's okay being long. And that's what I've been trying to teach and kind of grow with my clients is like, yo, it's okay for length. You know what I'm saying? Length is okay.
Length is okay.
Like, and I always try to emphasize that you can do way more with length than you can with just shorter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you could have more movement. The shorter it is, the more it just stands up and sticks out. It's not laying down, that's for sure. And I think, it's just crossing over to this different generation of hairstyles and adapting with it too, for sure.
Yeah, when it comes to adapting to the times, you're an OG in the game. I'm an OG in the game.
Yeah.
We've both seen a lot of change in the barber industry. Mm-hmm. What keeps you, as someone who has been around for a long time, to still strive to do new things, try new things?
I think being a barber, you have to have some kind of creative in you. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of barbers, or a lot of people who've become barbers was some kind of creative before. Like, I used to rap when I was in high school, you know what I'm saying? And that was like, I don't know, that was just my way of being creative, putting words down on a paper or whatnot. I never really draw. I didn't know how to draw well, but I ended up, picking up clippers and figuring that out. Damn, I lost track of my mind, man. What was the question again?
Why do you still push yourself to learn?
Why do I still push myself? Oh, yeah, I mean, again, just being a creative, I don't like being stagnant, really. Like, from time to time, sometimes I even just change my clippers just so I could like try to learn something new and figure some new clippers out and maybe create a new steps or new process on how I cut hair.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the creative in me. But hair industry, it always changes, right? And if you don't stay up on trends or hairstyles or what's going on, you kind of get left behind.
Yeah.
And people could definitely, I think it's very easy as a barber to get just stuck in your bubble. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got a good clientele base, you cut the same amount of people every week, you see the same people, you could get really stagnant. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it plenty of times. And I think just me as a creative, I don't like being stagnant. I always feel like I gotta be doing something or just have something on my plate where it's like a project or I'm just trying to work on something. I think that's just the creative in me. And again, definitely at a changing industry, you kind of gotta stay afloat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when I go to barber events, you see different generations present.
For sure, 100%.
There's the OGs who grew up in a day and age of barbering when there wasn't even appointment systems yet.
No, heck
It was all word of mouth. Yep. There was no social media. Those guys are at these events. Yeah. There's people like my generation, like right when I got into barbering, that's when appointment systems started. So it's like, it's not innovative. It's just that's just what you're presented with. True. The generation now are so social media savvy. Where us older guys, we're a little bit more hard to change when it comes to that stuff. I don't feel as comfortable on camera. Like I have 4 cameras in this room. I'm still very uncomfortable being in front of camera, but these kids, they know how to market, they know how to sell. Sure. And that's something I personally want to learn from them so that I can help refine the way that I approach social media. Because social media, it's a lot of work. Yeah. But these kids, it seems like they do it without even trying.
And that's where like a lot of like for especially us who's been in the game for a while, and that's where like we can still grow. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching how like maybe the younger generation is doing it and then adapting it to like how we do things, because their resources that they've gotten exceeds everything what we like had like trying to come up in this game. Like we didn't have no YouTube tutorials or like just classes. Like classes are heavy. Like everybody's throwing a class now, and like we didn't really have that back in the day. Everything I take a lot of pride in my work just because I felt everything was just like I had to go through everything. I had to experience everything. I had to experience. I mean, just pricing, right? I came from $15 haircuts, and now you guys get to come into the game and charge $50. Did you like no? Crazy. Like, did they know what that felt like? That in between right there, like 15 to 50, like what I had to go through. Like, I sat on my chair waiting for clients to come in my first few years. Like, I think that this is what it's about. You can build a strong clientele base. You'll be successful, but building that clientele base. You don't just get up there and you don't go into a shop and just have clientele. You have to build that. And that comes with who you are as a person. And if people like you, how you service people, if that's what people are looking for, you're going to be successful.
Where have you had to grow as a barber in the last decade or so?
Nice. Good question. Again, I worked at the San Mateo Zoo for 14 years, and I worked with a lot of barbers, right? I worked with a lot of different type of barbers, and I don't know. I'm an Aries, so I kind of just let people know how I really feel. Like I always keep it 100, and like I sometimes keeping it 100 all the time might not be the best route. You know what I'm saying? Like something I'll just blur something out in front of everybody in the shop, and like I might have offended this guy because I should have pulled him to the side and said it. You know what I'm saying? But I said it in front of the shop, and that's a lot of where a big part of my growth comes from, like in the barber industry, like in the last 5 years, like transitioning into a single chair studio. Like right before I left the barbershop atmosphere, I learned how to kind of just really control myself and have awareness of things. You know what I'm saying? Of like, okay, what I might be saying might be offensive to him. You know what I'm saying? And like I should really pull him to the side. And I think you grow a lot as a person being in a barbershop. You grow a lot as a man being a man. Yep. Like I got into barbershop when I was mid-20s. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn how to be a man in there and be a person, somebody, that just somebody who loves what they do, but also at the same time, I'm a person, you know what I'm saying? And like I got feelings and we go through stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Self-awareness doesn't come easy to a lot of people. It did not come easy for me. Yeah. I'm a very slow learner when it comes to self-awareness. Oh, yeah. What kind of started that journey for you?
Man, I'm going to give it up to one of my clients. My client, Ian, shout out Ian. He put me on to Jay Shetty. Familiar with Jay Shetty? Yeah. Jay Shetty's podcast. It was a Kobe podcast, so that was the very first one I listened to. And ever since then, I started listening to this guy. And like, one of the main things I've gotten from Jay Shetty is just having self-awareness. And I think having self-awareness is a superpower, bro. Like, being able to like catch yourself in certain moments and being able to catch your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like emotional intelligence too, right there, man. Being understand your feelings at certain times and like being able to control those things, right? Because a lot of people don't have the power to control their emotions, and they just let their emotions get the best of them, right? I think that happens a lot, and a lot of people come from just that, not really thinking of what's really going on, but just what their emotions are on that situation. So, yeah, self-awareness is something that I like. I mean, even as a parent, like, you have to have that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always catch myself, like, at the end of the day, like, thinking of a situation I've had with my kid, whether I handled that situation right or not, or whether, damn, did I go too hard on my son? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I hurt his feelings? And like, is he gonna be tripping off this the next day? And usually they're not, you know what I'm saying? That's just kids. They're able to move on that fast. But having that self-awareness, like, man, was I a good dad at that moment? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And actually catch yourself in that moment when you're like, oh, damn, I might have been going too hard. Let me calm down. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a superpower to have.
Yeah, I'd argue most people don't have self-awareness because they've never had a chance to look themselves in the mirror for the first time.
True.
And I had that moment through therapy.
Oh, nice.
And working with my therapist when it comes to like how I handle stress and how I handle difficult situations. Yeah. And when he finally helped me process through the reasons why I go through this stuff or how I handle certain things, it's almost like the light switch flipped on for the first time. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was glad, but at the same time, I was equally, oh no, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So I'd say self-awareness is hard for one reason or two reasons. One, people haven't had that light switch moment yet.
For sure.
And two, after getting light switch moment, to be able to say like, I need to actually do the work to be better for the people around me.
Yeah.
I can see how self-awareness has helped me become a better barber because similar to you, like I'm all about experience and being able to connect to my clients in a way where, you know, a lot of guys, and we can go into this too, a lot of guys don't have the opportunity to really vent out the things that they go through.
And get deep,
and
man.
we're in this world right now where it is difficult to be a man.
Yeah.
People don't even know what that means anymore.
For sure.
I know you're passionate about that topic.
Yeah.
Can you kind of shed light on your views on what masculinity means and
I like
how
that.
you kind of help guys in your chair?
Yeah. Well, first off, starting off like with like learning how to masculinity. I mean, I didn't have my dad around growing up, so I was around like women. You know what I'm saying? I was around my grandma, my mom, my aunt, my cousin who's a girl, and my uncle. So I was around a lot of females most of my childhood, right? Yeah. And I shout out my family and the women in my family who's definitely helped mold who I am, you know what I'm saying? And like they were just hardworking people, and that's what I think I got my work ethic from, was like seeing my mom work hard, my grandma work hard, my aunt, and like my uncle was only pretty much the father, like kind of guy figure around. He showed me a lot of sports, but he didn't show me like emotional stuff like that, right? So like I guess as I grew up and like I had to kind of learn all these emotions on my own and how to handle them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a dad to go talk to about these kind of feelings that I'm having, and like maybe wasn't that comfortable for me to talk about with my mom or whatnot, but like as I've gotten older, like, and being a barber, and like, I think as a barber, you have to be open, man. You can't be a closed book as a barber, especially to your clients. If I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna use my clients too. Like I always say too, like we're always like they always say barbers are your therapists, but for a barber, it's a two-way street. Relationships are two-way streets, man. And like you can use your clients as your therapy as well. You know what I'm saying? And you should be able to. You should have that type of relationship where you could actually talk to your client that deep. You know what I'm saying? And letting them in and let them know what you're going through, what you're feeling. Because us as barbers, we hear all of that stuff and we try to give the best advice as we can. And I know, like, if you show that to your clients will do the same for you, right? And I'm sure that's where the relationship aspect of barbering is like you build relationships with these clients where you're comfortable enough to talk about things. And as I've gotten older and as I've just been a barber for a long time, I've always just been comfortable opening up to my clients. And like last year when I kind of went a little bit more heavy on social media, I kind of tried to open myself up more to my network, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of changed things. And like, I dropped a video talking about like my eczema issue that I'm going through. And I had, like, I wasn't expecting this response, but like it touched people, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, like, whenever, like me, my intention on social media is to either educate, entertain, or just help anybody, you know, that I can with like, whether barbering or whatever it is. But when I dropped that video, like the people were telling me like how I touched them and I didn't do it for that reason. I just did it to maybe like put it out there and see if somebody else is going through this type of things, that like opening up and talking about it could actually help you. And that video did help me feel at a better place. And like the response I got from people actually helped me with my healing journey. You know what I'm saying? And like, I was going through a super tough time and I actually came here in the midst of all of that, and I got a haircut on my birthday. And I just had this to refresh. I chopped all my hair off. And like something from that day on, though, it was like things kind of started changing a little bit for me. And I don't know if it was just maybe my mindset or like the stress that I kind of like released or whatnot, but like things started getting better. And like, that's what I've kind of learned this year a lot, man. It's like, things are going to be okay. Things are going to be okay. No matter what you're going through, like, it's gonna be okay, but it's all onto you. It's all like only you got control of like your journey, your health number one. I mean, I've been through like some health stuff the past couple of years, and like, ain't nobody gonna fix your health but you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty open talking about this, and that's what I think. That's masculine for me. You know, that's masculine. That's what masculinity is for me. Being able to open up like that and being able to talk to you and tell you what I'm going through, And you, man, that one time, like, we were supposed to do this podcast a while ago, and I was going through some stuff, and we had to cancel because I wasn't comfortable enough showing my face on the camera or to people. And, like, I got a lot of key moments in my barbering careers and, like, people that I have connections with, and that was one that stands out, probably top 3 moments of mine for sure, because shout out my boy Jared Malari, like, crazy time. He was a guest barber at the zoo. I was going through my eczema stuff, one of my worst eczema stuff, too, back then. And I was talking to him. I opened up to him, telling him what I was going through. And we were at the side of the zoo, and he prayed. He asked if he could pray over me. And out of nowhere, when I had to cancel that show that we were gonna do, and I was telling you what I was going through, you asked if you could pray for me. So like those type of moments right there, and like that actual moment kind of helped me even like reopen my relationship with God, and I started praying more. Yeah. Like, I don't take this barber thing for granted, and like, mostly every day I pray and thank God for like giving me the blessings to have this kind of skills and like being able to do what I do and being able to do what I love and all the blessings that I got. And like that moment that when you prayed over me, that was a big one for me in my barbering career because of the connections that like I've gotten and the relationships that I've gotten from barbering. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's something you can't pay for, bro. No, you can't pay for those type of relationships or moments like that. So that's what masculinity is to me, man. Being able to open up to somebody, then you being like the man you are, was a lending hand. Like, hey, man, like I just want to pray for you real quick, bro, and like maybe this might help you. But we were raised in a time where you're supposed to hide those things, though.
Stuff it down.
You are not supposed to show emotions. You're not supposed to cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to show men you cry. And I'm trying to instill that in my kids, like, hey, man, like, it's okay to open up, man. You can be open, you know what I'm saying? But I think we were raised in a generation where you kind of hide those things, and that's what men do. And I think it's our job to change that generational type of stuff like that.
Yeah. Because the real men in my life, and I say real men as in like I look up to them as how I want to be as a man, they cry the most.
Yeah, man.
And it's because the sacrifices that they make for either their family or their friends the people around them, it weighs heavy on any human being.
I think even crying because of like joy, bro.
That too.
Like they're not just crying a sadness or like, but I think sometimes I just drop a tear off of some happy stuff, bro. Like feeling happy inside. And I think when you do get to those kind of situations, you kind of got to let those feelings kind of just come out. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important. I think it's important to let those kind of feelings just, because that's who you are. And I'm like, that's what I kind of just been trying to work on as of lately, is just being my truest self, man. And I've been working on that the past year. And that's why when I'm on Instagram or if I drop a video, I'm not trying to be like nobody else. I'm like, I'm being me, and I'm trying to be me, playing me, showing you guys who I am. And like, if people attract to it, cool. If not, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You touched on your health journey, battling with eczema.
Yeah.
You're someone I know personally, and a few other barbers that I also know who are going through a similar type of like battle.
Yeah.
How has that journey been for you? Because that's something you're continuing to battle,
yes,
right?
I am still, yeah.
So as a barber too, like we work with our hands a lot. We're people facing a lot of the times.
Yeah.
The struggles that you go through, a lot of other barbers are going through in silence.
For sure.
And so you're kind of breaking the silence by saying, hey guys, this is what I go through.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your journey a little bit?
Okay, sure, yeah. It's funny because like my son has eczema, and I'm sure I passed it down to him, but he got it early. Like he got it early in his life, right? I didn't get eczema till I was like in high school, and who knows what it might have been, diet, my gut, or whatnot. Because I've done a lot of research, like for sure on eczema in my past life, in my life for sure. But yeah, I did all the steroid creams or whatnot. I was on some medicine called Dupixent in 2017, and I was on that for like the past 5 years, and I just stopped using it last year because I had some kind of side effects where my eyes was turning red, and I started doing research, and people were getting blind from this drug. So my wife was like, yo, you need to stop taking that drug. So I ended up getting some wrist issues, and coming to find out I had rheumatoid arthritis. The possible cause of that rheumatoid arthritis could be the drug that I was taking, because a side effect of it is like joint pain, and like I started having joint pain like after a couple of years of using that drug. So yeah, I went through a tough time last year with my wrist pain and finding out I had rheumatoid arthritis, so I switched up my whole lifestyle. Pretty much I'm on an anti-inflammatory diet, trying to keep inflammation down in my body. With my joints and my skin. I had a big breakout, like flare up on my skin, like a month before my daughter was born earlier this year, and had a staph infection. My skin was messed up, and I had to cancel all my clients. I couldn't even show my face, and just one of the toughest times of my life, like going through with eczema, and like trying to do research and kind of found out that like the gut might be like the root cause of it. So I worked with some natural holistic doctor who kind of showed me a way of like trying to heal my gut with supplements and diet. And I was on this 4-month program, and I just finished that a couple months ago, and like I definitely got in a better place. But battling eczema it's a psychological thing, man. As much as it is physical, it's like more psychological because of it breaks you down, bro. It breaks you down mentally. Like you could try to be as strong as possible as long as you want, but you're gonna break down eventually because you're human, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I've been through so much with eczema, like being on social media a lot last year. I thought it was a right time to kind of share that and like, yeah, open up some new relationships with people that I never knew in the barber industry that had eczema, that reached out to me and shared their journeys, and I was able to share any kind of information that I knew that might possibly help. But yeah, man, it's a tough battle to go through, and like I'm still going through it. I just came back from Hawaii, and I thought my skin was all good. And I kind of had a little flare up earlier this week. I mean, I kind of let loose with my diet while I was in Hawaii. Kind of hard to stay on a diet in Hawaii, but I have a foundation. You know what I'm saying, with the way I eat. And my lifestyle, I have a foundation, and like if I come off track, like I know I have something to always fall back onto, and like I feel like I found something that kind of works with the way I eat. And yeah, I'm a big believer. It's all about what you put in your body. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like,
so what are some of the things about eczema that took you by surprise when you were researching about it?
Okay.
Because you went pretty heavy into the research.
Yeah.
From what I understand about eczema, is mainly through like people like you sharing their experience.
Yeah.
But the thing that you told me in the past was that it's related to your gut. Is it specifically your gut microbiome?
Correct. If like I see this, listen, I kind of want, I dug deep and like try to understand my gut, because like through research, like a lot of people, a lot of natural holistic doctors, or a lot of doctors are saying like the gut is the root cause of eczema. And it because of your microbiome, and you have like probably an overload of a certain bacteria in your gut, according to what your diet is, whether you take probiotics, prebiotics, or anything like that, helping your gut. But I didn't eat vegetables or fruit as a kid, man. And I've been trying to dig deep, like, damn, how did this happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did I mess up my gut? And of course, it's not eating fruits and vegetables.
Is that really one of the causes or potential causes?
I mean, I'm trying to think of like, how can your gut change? I mean, your gut is your gut is kind of like hereditary. You're just handed down from however probably your parents' gut is what you're gonna kind of have. And I don't know. I mean, it's a cultural thing too, right? Like a bunch of Filipinos have eczema. A lot of Islanders have eczema. But yeah, I don't know. Supposedly it's the gut, and I've worked on my gut heavy. I'm gonna take another gut test. I took a gut test earlier this year, which showed that I had like a leaky gut. That's what it's called, where pretty much you have like holes in the linings of your intestines. So whatever's being broken down in your stomach is not like, you're not really getting all the nutrients from it or whatnot. So I tried to heal my gut. I'm gonna take another gut test and see where my gut is at. But just trying to eat like a variety of different fruits and vegetables supposedly helped that. And I did that like the past 4 months and changed up my diet, and I got in a better place.
Yeah.
Who knows if that was what it was. Maybe the stress they always say has a big cause onto your eczema, but it's like it's weird to say that, because how could you not stress when you're looking at your skin that's messed up?
You end up stressing out a little bit more.
So it's just a battle that you kind of have to find a way to fight. You know what I'm saying?
There's a Netflix documentary that covers the gut, and I remember watching it a couple months ago. But essentially, like,
I watched that one. I'm pretty sure I watched that one.
Yeah, there is this one part where
they had Kobayashi. Yeah, that one. Yep.
They weren't talking about eczema specifically, but they were tying how your gut microbiome can actually induce more anxiety. So for people who are more...
your gut is connected to the brain. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. That's what they say. The gut and the brain, there's an axis there. And supposedly there's a gut and skin axis too. So
it's all connected.
Yeah. I mean, like you eat trash food, don't you feel shitty? Or
exactly.
You feel like sluggish?
Yeah. Even the way how people process food, like they gave the example of you take two people, one person eats, they both eat the same apple, but their bodies process it differently. And so when you see people who are like morbidly obese, their gut microbiome just isn't able to process things the same way Kobayashi, who's skin and bones. And there's people like competitive eaters all the time on YouTube showing how much they can eat in one sitting. I love watching those videos because I don't know, it's like satisfying for some reason. You can call me weird. But I feel like it has a negative impression on society, because then it makes people get into all these eating disorders, which lead to more health problems, which lead to poor mental health. Like it's all connected.
It's connected. That's what I was just gonna say. It's all connected somehow, right? food, health.
Like when I've had anxiety,
Yeah.
like for some reason I have a lot of gas that builds up in my stomach. It's super weird. But when I talked to my therapist, they were just like, yeah, like that's just what happens when you have anxiety. Like people feel it in their gut.
Yeah.
So it was groundbreaking to me when you mentioned how eczema can also be affected by your gut as well.
Yeah.
And your stress levels. Like, have you noticed a lot of people you service like in their 30s are starting to lose their hair?
Yeah, bro.
So a lot of guys
or grays.
So a lot of guys are starting to do topical treatments with like minoxidil, finasteride, because they're balding.
Yeah.
But then you don't know what those chemicals are doing to your hormones.
Exactly, man. Changing your body, bro.
There's a lot of stuff.
And that's one thing, like I've been with my health thing, it's like I have my own views and thoughts of like big pharma, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been like a victim to their drugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like right now, like it's actually been a little over a year and I've been medicine free. I haven't taken no medicine for my eczema, no medicine. They were like, as soon as they found out I had rheumatoid arthritis, they assigned me to a doctor, and first thing they wanted to prescribe me some kind of medicine, and I wasn't with it. And I'm over a year medicine free, and I'm living like manageably, you know what I'm saying, with my skin and my arthritis. So yeah, man, I think people gotta double think when you take medicine. Double think that one.
Yeah, because an example is the steroids you were taking.
Oh yeah, those.
Turns out you can build a tolerance to stronger steroids,
bro.
And once you get off of it, guess what? Your body is just like, where's the steroid?
I went to in 2015, all the steroids stuff stopped working for me. So I did my research and I found this thing called topical steroid withdrawal. Right? And that's pretty much where you just quit using anything. You quit using all those ointments, creams, or anything, any steroids. You quit using that stuff. And a week in, like my body just flared up crazy, went super crazy. And your skin just, it's fighting. It's just like any kind of drug. You take a drug for a while, your body's gonna get used to it.
It breaks my heart, especially for you, like you're someone who loves the Barber game.
Yeah.
But when your body starts to do stuff like this, where eczema flares up, it keeps you from doing the one thing that you love doing.
Yeah, man.
And there's a lot of people who their bodies are keeping them from what they want to do for a living, or their passions and whatnot.
Yeah.
You mentioned like you're in a better place now.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from all like the doctor stuff and the visits and like the flare-ups, how have you been able to keep your mind in a stable place?
How have I been able to keep my mind in a stable place throughout this time, man, is my family. I got a family. I got a crazy story, man. Like I'll never forget this moment. Like, and this happened earlier this year during my rough little patch that I was going through. My son Kenzo, he likes drawing and stuff, right? So he'll just draw whatever. He'll get some crayons and he'll draw something. He'll come into the room, and he came into the room and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, check this out. This is our family. This is me, you, Mom, Marlo, whatever." He drew people, right? And then he came back 10 minutes later. He's like, "Oh, this is like us playing soccer on a soccer field, right?" And he's like, "Oh, me and Marla, his brother." And he comes back in a third time and he brings me a picture. He's like, "Oh, Daddy, this is you, right?" And it was a picture of me laid down on the bed, right? And on the pillow, there was like red markings. And I'm like, "Oh, what's the red for?" He's like, "Oh, that's your blood, Daddy."
Oh my gosh.
So like for him to like put that down on a piece of paper, like that's what he thought, that's what he's like portrayed me as, and that's what he seen me as in that moment, bro. Like, cause I was just I couldn't get out of bed, bro. Like I didn't have it in me, like mentally, like physically I could've, but just mentally, like I just was drained, bro, like of what I was going through. And like I just lay there in bed all the time, bro. Like I wake up from a night's sleep and there's just blood all over my sheets, blood over my pillows, hands all tore up, open and stuff. And my son drew a picture and like, and I didn't get mad. There's no way I could get mad at that, right? Because that's just his organic feelings of what he knows and what he sees, and he put it down on paper. But like I cried, like I had to cry, bro. I was like, what the hell, bro? Like this is how my son is like seeing me right now. So like that moment right there, I was like, that was kind of a big push for me to be like, man, get your ass out of bed. Even my wife was like, yo, you can't just stay in bed, dude. Like you gotta get up. Like, and so that little moment right there kind of pushed me to be like, man, I gotta fight. And like I said it earlier, like anything that deals with your health, like only you can control that. Like ain't no doctor gonna control how your health goes. Like they'll give you advice, but it's up to you to actually do the work or maybe take the medicine that they give you or not and find like a different option, which is what I did. I was like, I want to go a natural way. I don't want to take that medicine because I know what it's going to do. So yeah, man, just learning like to just be able to just keep pushing, man. And like, I think that was kind of a big thing that I learned this year is like just having patience with yourself. Cause like I didn't know if I was going to heal or not. You know what I'm saying? And I did some way and like, but I tried to stay as patient as possible and kind of just go through it. And like, as time, like they say, time is the healer of things also. And I guess just time kept passing by, like my skin started clearing up a little bit more and more. And I just got in a better place and my quality of life came back up. But that was me. That's what I had to do. I had to fight through those kind of tough times and emotions and keep pushing.
The episode I did with Rodolfo Sanchez.
Yeah, I watched that one. That was a toucher. I like that one. That was good.
He's a fighter, bro.
Yeah, he is.
He is someone who had a similar experience where when he found out that he was diagnosed with cancer and only had 2 months to live, he pretty much just laid in bed all day and loathing and he had to come to grips with himself too and say like, am I just gonna lay here and rot?
Yeah, man.
No. And so even though he's still going through chemo and going through all the cancer treatments, he still works out. He still shows up to work for his clients. He still has a positive outlook. Probably one of the most positive people I've ever spoken to. He just has such a like kindred spirit. Like if you ever get a chance to sit down with him, man, he'll fill your cup.
Nah, that's why I love like that's why I support your podcast a lot. It's like because you got people on there whether they're barbers or not, but like everybody got a story, right? Everybody has their own story, even especially barbering. Like we have a lot of similar ways that we came up, but we all have our own journeys, and I think everybody's journey is important. You know what I'm saying? And like Rodolfo, that was a good. Like I was tuned into that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, when it comes to emotions, I cry a lot now.
Yeah.
In private, in public, I hold it in the best as I can.
Yeah.
But I cry or like I get emotional all the time because I know how hard it is to go through stuff like that. When you mentioned the time when we had to reschedule our pod, I not for a second was I didn't get upset that you wanted to reschedule. I was like, bro, like, let's talk. Let me see how I can like support you.
For sure.
And I think that's what it's all about. Like, like you told me everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And then I shared with you my story with my daughter and her health issues and how she's a fighter. And I resonate with people who go through stuff because I go through battles that people don't even know I go through.
For sure.
And we put a smile on for every single client.
Yeah.
But the moment you're able to let your walls down and say, hey, today's one of those days.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's okay if we support each other. That's kind of missing, I think, in the barber industry. Mainly, I don't want to say the barber industry as a whole. Maybe it's just because of the world I live in right now, where I'm in a suite. I'm able to have these private conversations with people.
Yeah.
When I cut at the barbershop every now and then, it's kind of hard to do that. Because when I visit my homies at Paradox, I just cut hair. And whenever I cut one of their hair, like we're just messing around. It's like it's not too deep.
Not for sure.
And I know there's a time and place for being deep. Honestly, I suck at small talk. So the deeper stuff, that's the stuff I have more fun with.
Yeah, me too.
But I know settings kind of matter, and we're both in our own suites, right? We talked about it before when I was cutting your hair about the difference between working in a suite and working in a barbershop. Because there's a lot of new barbers who are tuned into this podcast too. Yeah. Maybe some of them are exploring opening up a suite versus working at a barbershop. Can Can you kind of share your experience since you've worked in both?
Yeah, my foundation is, well, in reality, my foundation is the garage, right? That's the most ironic thing about this whole single chair suite thing was like, this is my foundation. This is my real foundation. I started off in my garage being one-on-one with people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why it was easy for me to transition into a single chair studio. And plus the relationships I've already built with my clients. Like, I'm that comfortable enough to be in a small little space with just me and you. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's like if you're a newer barber trying to get in a single chair studio, I think it might be harder because you haven't gone through what it's like to be in a barber shop and kind of build in, first off, your routine on how you cut hair, your steps on how you cut hair, and then number one, how you service people, right? And like, how you service people in the shop might not, it sometimes not the same as what you would do in a suite, I feel like. Just because, I don't know, it's more personal, right? It's a more personal one-on-one experience. When I went into the suite, I wanted to give more of a full service experience, not just the in and out type of service, which I was doing for a long time, right? And that was cool, like, but I wanted to slow down cutting hair also. Like, I'm not doing 30-minute haircuts. I'm doing 45-minute to an hour haircuts now. And that's a big difference that I changed up when I went into a suite or a single chair studio. But again, I think you have to go through being slow. You have to go through not having a full book, man. I think most newer barbers might be coming into this industry because of the way it's portrayed. Like, you're just gonna be popping as soon as you get a chair. And it's not really like that. And like, you can't expect the shop to have clients for you just like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to build your way to that. And that comes along with what you do and how you service people. And if you give a good service to people, you'll have people coming back. But I think you have to go through this shit first before you go into a single chair studio. Because, and again, being comfortable, I think more of like the younger generation ain't comfortable being alone or being by themselves, just for the fact that we're always stimulated with something.
Yep.
Or mostly our phone, you know what I'm saying? But it's like interaction with people, man. Like, that's one thing I definitely miss. That's one thing I miss from like the barbershop and the single chair studio is the community that you build. And that's one thing I love that you kind of always push and like on your pod is you always talk about community. And I've always been big on that when it comes to community because that's what barbershops are, you know what I'm saying? That's what barbershops build, man. It builds a community of people who are, you know, who could get along, who can help each other, can be around each other. But I think that's one of the difference right there. It's like you don't have that. I kind of miss that right there. I miss the community aspect of like a barbershop.
The two barbers that work with me right now, shout out to Brent and Lawrence. Yeah. They both came from garages. Mm-hmm. And so this is their first experience being in like a communal barbershop type of experience, even though it's still a suite, but we're still working together. Yeah. And they said that you just get better as a barber when you're around other people, because then you're able to see how another barber does their fades or does their scissor cuts, and you're like, oh, let me try that. Yeah. And you kind of push yourself to be better because everyone in the shop is better. Yeah. I love working in a barbershop for the camaraderie because the energy. 100%, yeah. Oh yeah. You can't recreate the energy in a suite.
Yeah, you can't match the energy of a barbershop and then the energy in a suite.
It's just like, different.
It's totally different.
Even when it comes to the small talk that you have on the daily with your coworkers at the barbershop, like it makes the days feel different. Yeah. When you're in a suite, it kind of feels like the same thing over and over. Yeah. You kind of have to find ways to make the vibe a little bit more lively.
For sure.
But I'd say if you're a new barber, I don't know, maybe you can agree with this or disagree, but when you first open up a suite, you're opening up essentially a barbershop. So you have to buy the chair, you have to buy the products, you have to have a booking system. Usually when you work in a barbershop, all that stuff is done for you. You just show up, pay your rent. And so I know a lot of barbers who start off at a suite, they end up not being able to make it far because of how much they had to learn on top of learning how to cut hair. So that's what I feel like is a challenge if they were to enter a suite. What do you think about that?
I think that's true because like you could learn in a barbershop, you could watch, right? You could watch and like, okay, how does the owner do his thing? How does he do his books? How does he do? You can learn all of that and then go into a suite compared to you're gonna have to learn that on your own, right? Like something you don't really know yet. And yeah, I don't know. I think if just coming into a suite is more challenging. It's way more harder, I think.
Yeah. Because a suite, it's great if you already have some barbershop experience.
Correct. Yeah.
But if you if you're fresh,
because everything's on you. Everything you got to do everything. You do everything. Everything. You do everything.
Everything, bro. And even for us who come from barbershops, opening up our own suite, it was challenging for us too. It's not impossible.
It's not. It's very doable. It's very doable. Very doable.
But I'd say opening up a suite has taught me what it takes to open up a barbershop.
A barbershop, yeah.
The ins and outs, the how to do your taxes.
For sure.
It's like you're learning everything in small scale.
Yeah. So
that when the time comes, you already have systems in place to do it. And that's kind of what I want to do. Like I want to grow these guys to be great barbers so that they could join the barbershop that I open up in the future.
Heck yeah.
And hopefully with them, inspire them to do their own thing too.
For sure, man. It's not just like I want you to be here forever. Like definitely want to see people grow. And I think that's just the barber game, right? Like a shop opens up, everybody comes in there, and then everybody eventually, one by one, somebody's gonna want to do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Or just venture off and do something different, and it's okay.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
You went through some challenging times with your own suite, right? Like when it came to what was the issue, like the rent stuff.
Oh yeah.
Can you kind of tell me about like some of the challenges that you're currently going through when it comes to owning your suite?
Let's see. Again, like just we got to do everything. It's on us, right? I don't rely on it. I can't, or it's like I can, like I could definitely ask my wife for help for sure. But I think the Aries in me just got too much pride. I got to do everything on my own. Like, it's always like that. It's like I could always ask for help, but like I always end up being like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself, man.
Yeah.
You just know yourself a little bit more better that you can do it or whatnot. But I mean, my main challenge right now is my rent. I didn't think I was gonna get up to this price point of what I'm paying for my shop, where I might have to adjust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have a big enough space to possibly add another chair, and I think that's a possible move that I'm gonna be doing in the next coming year. But yeah, I've almost wanted to go back to the barbershop vibe again, and I could easily go to a barbershop and save myself some money and live happy, and my quality of life would be good. I'll be around my homies that I love cutting hair with. But I kind of started something, you know what I'm saying? I started Overgrown, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to give that up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna find a way to adjust and like, but again, just like having to do everything on my own. That's just pretty much the most challenging part of like of owning a suite or a single chair studio. You just gotta have your system. You know what I'm saying? You create a system that kind of makes everything work easy. And I felt like I was able to do that being in a barbershop first.
Yeah. Because you actually have a picture of what the end goal could be.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I lucked out and I worked for probably the best shops in the Bay Area.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Working first for Mike at Legends Barbershop and then working at Paradox with Jordan, JR, and Don.
Heck yeah.
And I think working at specifically those two barbershops, I learned a lot about what to do and what not to do, and learn from their mistakes. You're pretty much learning with other people's money. And I think that's the best part about working at a barbershop. You get to see all the mistakes and all the wins and all. Like I love like for Paradox, for example, like we built very good, healthy community of just homies hanging out, cutting hair.
For sure.
And that vibe kind of comes off in like how we would move at like events and stuff. It's like, it's just a bunch of homies.
For sure.
It's real community. And we just so happen to cut hair really good too.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And so by learning that, like I'm kind of transplanting those ideas to what I do here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like let's all cut hair really good, and let's also be cool with each other, you know, like why not?
For sure.
Because there are barbershop owners where the owner is more of like just the manager.
Yeah, you just
collect.
You just work there.
You just work there.
Yeah.
That's something I really don't want because I want to be able to.
That for sure.
I want to be someone like an owner that I wish I had.
Yeah.
Someone who really cares and is all about growth and all that stuff.
Yeah, because you can only go so far if you're just collecting. Right? You know? If it's just transactional.
Oh yeah.
If it's just transactional, it's noticeable and then it doesn't go too far.
And barbers, bro, we're sensitive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we're the most creative and we're the most sensitive.
Yeah.
And so like you got to keep things fun and creative and moving in a direction. Otherwise, when barbers feel like it's work, I think that's when your shop kind of dies.
True.
You're not able to grow towards a certain goal together.
For sure.
But I wouldn't mind working back at a shop, maybe like temporarily, just to switch things up. I love what I'm building here. And like same for you, it's like you started Overgrown. Like let's see it through. Let's see what it turns into, bro.
Heck yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about Overgrown, like the name and like the brand that you're building and just the plans you have for the future. What do you have going on with it?
So pretty much like Overgrown came about during the pandemic when, I don't know, like a light bulb just kind of came out, like lit up, and it was like, I think it's that time where like I kind of need to do something for myself now, you know what I'm saying? And like, I didn't want to open up a barbershop. I know I didn't want to open up a barbershop, but slowly started seeing the single chair studio stuff. Didn't really see not too many people had it out in like the Peninsula area or the Bay Area. Who's the first person you knew had a single chair studio?
Probably Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
He probably set the bar.
He does, bro. Shout out Julius, man. That's the homie. He's inspirational for sure.
Yeah.
But he's one of the first people I've seen for sure with a single chair studio. And just during the time, I was like, that might be the way, just because it's more comfortable for my people during COVID or whatnot. And that was a big moment for me in my career, just because I was at the zoo for 14 years already, and I was like the last one standing over there from like one of the original people that started cutting hair there, and making that jump was a big deal. So I named like a big part of it's called Overgrown is because I had to overgrow these feelings of being scared and sacrificing what I had at the San Mateo Zoo, and goes along with like my mantra, which is sacrifice good for growth. And I feel like sometimes to get to the next level in life, sometimes you got to sacrifice things, right? And it might be good. It might be a good thing you might have to sacrifice, but in order to get to that next level, you kind of sometimes have to sacrifice those things. And I had to sacrifice what I had at the zoo. I had a full book of clientele. I had a good group of barbers that I was working with. Like I was comfortable, but for me to get to the next level of my career, I had to kind of sacrifice all of that and open up Overgrown. And finding Overgrown, like it's kind of like pushed me to stay growing. And that's like another part of my mantra too. Like I'm always like, that's why it's like the past 3 years, like in my whole barber game, I've just been trying to grow, whether it's like promoting myself or getting better with shears or scissors or whatnot. Like last year I took a big big dive into like cutting with shears and like really trying to fully understand it. Even though like I was gamed up a long time ago, like I didn't take that in and like say that, oh, I could use these like techniques or whatnot. But now it's like, no, like the styles are changing. Like I want to do those things. I was getting kind of bored with just clippers, you know what I'm saying? Like, and finding scissors was kind of like super refreshing, bro. I was like, oh, this is dope. And like, I'm actually like, you're asking like, what's coming up next? Like I'm doing a showcase at the Beauty and Barber Expo.
I saw that.
I'm gonna be doing a woman's haircut, bro. I'm gonna do a bob. I've been working on that. I've been working on that like the past week or whatnot. And yeah, gonna shock people, man. Like I'm sure everybody's gonna think I'm gonna come up there and like do a men's haircut. But I'm bringing my wife on stage and I'm gonna cut her hair, bro. You can just kind of shock the world. And like that's, I think, maybe like my next evolution of like me as an artist, not just as a barber no more. Like sometimes you could be confined to a barber, what people think a barber is. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just think you're a barber, or you just do fades. Like you don't know how to cut with shears. Some people could look at you like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think who we truly are, we're artists. You know what I'm saying? Because we get to create, we get to bend boundaries, we get to just do things the way we think is right, and like we make something, and the things we make are pretty dope, I think. That's haircuts, right? So like I think that's like next for me, my evolution is like really maybe dabbling into women's hair and see where that goes. But yeah, I got some big things for Overgrown. I'm like possibly adding a new chair in my shop. Nice. Just trying to grow again, like can't stay stagnant, man. Like as a creative, I've always got to be doing something. So I think, yeah, I got a lot on my plate right now. I got a lot of things coming up like in the next few months. But like, again, when you have a brand and like a single chair studio, like again, we talking about you got to do everything yourself, right? Like it's kind of like go time for me right now. So I'm on go mode right now, trying to get things done and like setting the next step for myself and Overgrown. Yeah.
And we share the same imagery with the gardens and the plants and stuff. And I know you were heavy into plants during the pandemic too,
exactly.
right?
That's a big part of why it was named Overgrown as well. But yeah, man, I think being on like last year being on social media, I got to connect with you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like one of the most important things about this industry, bro, is like connecting with people. Like I have so many connections with so many different people, bro, and that's one of my favorite parts, bro. Like having connections with like people and like just certain relationships with people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this game brings us. Yeah, I love it.
I want to give you the last word, and I want to be able to like shout you out and support you and help people know what Overgrown is and whatnot. And also, what other encouragement do you have for maybe the people listening who have gone through some similar stuff as you? Any last words to share with them?
Again, man, like you just gotta keep pushing, man. Like I guess like you'll get in a funk at times, and you have your highs and you have your lows, and you gotta ride both of them. You gotta ride the highs when they're high, and when they're low, you kind of gotta find a way to ride that wave too. And sometimes you come out it fast, and sometimes it might take longer, but like, I think you just got to keep pushing. And that's what I learned this year, man. I'm just going to keep pushing with like what I do and who I am as a person, and try to represent myself like the way I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, keep it pushing, man. And stay growing. Stay growing,
Stay
bro.
growing.
Stay growing, man. That's
there it is right there.
That's just me, like who I am as a person. Like I'm always trying to find a way to up myself and grow and get to the next step of what this journey brings, man.
Yeah. I love it, bro.
Right on, brother.
So James, thank you so much for sitting with us.
Appreciate
and
you,
sharing your story, man. Can't wait to listen back to this. And you know, like whenever I have people like you, for example, who share like a big life change and big like health thing, like it hits closer to home more so. And for a lot of people who listen online too, there's just people who go through stuff that we don't, like, it's not even on our radar. Yeah. True. And so for you to be open, vulnerable, it takes courage, and two, it's something that a lot of people need to hear. I needed to hear this today. Right on. And so just stay growing. Right on, I'm gonna take that to heart, bro. So I'm gonna show you this mirror. Let me know what you think.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it always. Oh, yes. Yeah, the flow. There's the flow right there,
There's
bro.
the flow.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode featuring James Aragon. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys are encouraged. We'll see you guys next time on The Green Room. Peace.
Peace.